Oh no.
Talk more.
Oh my gosh. I have hemorrhoids.
I think that's fine.
Okay. Well, let me know if it gets better or gets
Yeah,
worse, I guess.
I hope it's fine.
You just wanted me to say I have hemorrhoids. I see how it
Yes.
is.
I'm sorry to hear that, but it sounds fine.
I don't. Welcome back to our podcast, Waking the Fucked Up, a woke podcast. I am your host without hemorrhoids, Ryan, and as always, I am joined by Emily.
Who has a sweaty butt crack right now?
We're having butt problems today.
We just have problems, it happens.
That's true. That's the general topic of our podcast. How's your day going?
It's good. I went out to lunch and ate
You went out to
some
lunch?
yeah, I had PF Chang's, gluten-free,
Ooh,
but still had lots of sugar, so
damn.
yeah.
Well, sugar's pretty cool, I guess.
Yeah, sugar's cool until you get inflammation and then you have brain fog and want to sleep but can't.
Yeah. Wait, you can't sleep because you're busy or you just can't sleep?
Oh no, like when I have sugar, it like makes me tired because it affects obviously your blood sugar and inflammation, but it's like I can't, it's like a wired but tired feeling. So it's like the sugar keeps you up, but your blood sugar, insulin, it makes you feel like drowsy.
Oh,
so
gotcha. Well, Neptune is in retrograde, so that also affects sleeping patterns and dreams. So stay safe out there, everybody. It's gonna be in retrograde for 6 fucking months. And
what? 6 months?
Is retrograde for the whole year?
Is it always retrograde? That would explain a lot about my life.
Some different planets retrograde at different times.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So Mercury was in retrograde for 5 months last year. And this year it just went in for 20 days. It just got over too. Yeah. Planets.
I think I have mercury poisoning, I think is what happened to me personally, but
oh, that's not good. You would be dead.
Anyways, should we talk about what we want to talk about today?
Well, first we have to, since we are re-recording, I have to play our game.
Yes. Okay.
This is a game I came up with that stems from street preachers, or I call them streetwalkers because I feel like they would hate that. But it is called Repent or Burn in Hell. So put a finger down challenge. We'll see if you need to repent or if you're going to go to hell or whatever by their terms. Okay?
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay. So there's 8. So by the end, you should either have no more than 8 down.
Okay.
Unless you feel compelled to put 2 down for some.
Yeah, like if you feel really convicted.
Yeah, you're like, dang, I do that times 2.
Ooh, yeah.
Oof. All right. Number 1, put a finger down if you are fearful. I am putting a finger down.
Okay. So again, are these like the biblical definitions of fearful?
I would say
like the fear of the Lord.
Well, doesn't God want you to fear him?
Yes.
Okay, then why would this be on the if you're fearful you're going to hell list? So I would just say a general sense of fear.
Okay, so lack of trust in God then.
Yes.
Probably.
I'm putting a finger down.
I scared.
You scared? Oh dang. Yeah. Okay. Put a finger down if you are unbelieving. I don't remember if I'm gonna put a finger down. Just because I don't believe in fundamentalists' belief of God.
Okay, so then also my question was, this is like based on what the preacher would say.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm putting a finger down because I don't believe all the things they believe.
Yeah, strictly the streetwalkers,
Okay.
not the normal people.
The
Okay,
normal ones,
the normal ones, the ones I can hang out with. Everyone else just kind of wants to hurt me or yell at me and make me cry. Just don't yell at me. Okay. The abominable. Again, I forgot what that means, so I looked it up.
It's the abominable snowman.
Yeah, if you are Bigfoot.
Yeah. Okay.
Well,
have you seen
you are
Bigfoot?
very bad or unpleasant. I would say I'm pretty pleasant, so I'm not going to put a finger down for that one.
Wait, that's the definition? Very bad, unpleasant.
Causing revulsion, very bad, unpleasant, loathsome, detestable, hateful.
I think a street preacher would think that I'm unpleasant. So I'm putting
Oh, yeah, you're right. He would think I'm unpleasant too, huh?
Yeah, oh yes.
I think I'm a joy personally, but I guess they would not be a fan.
I have to agree with you, but I know the street preachers they would not think you're a joy.
Oh well. They're not my target audience.
They ain't your people.
Ain't my people. Ain't my people. All right, put a finger down if you are a murderer. I have never killed anyone. Bugs do not count, Emily.
Yes, I was just thinking that I was thinking of a Bible verse about murdering because like people typically aren't murderers, but I think they put them in with another category of people. So whatever, like I'm gonna keep my finger up because I never killed no one.
Have very loose terms of murder. I feel like personally, but
yeah,
who knows?
Okay,
put a finger down. My personal favorite. If you are a whoremonger. Which
can you remind me what this is again?
Is a person who has dealings with prostitutes, especially sexually promiscuous men.
No, not me.
It depends on what we consider dealings, I guess. I'm
Did
a whore.
You say men?
It says especially men.
Especially men are whoremongers?
Yes.
Okay. I thought you were saying like male prostitutes.
And I mean, hey. But no, men who are mongering whores.
Oh, okay. I'm not gonna put a finger down for that one.
I'm not gonna put a finger down for that one either, but because I feel like I'd be pretty safe if a streetwalker asked me if I was a whoremonger. I'd be like, nah.
You'd say no. Oh, okay.
All right. Second personal favorite. Put a finger down if you are a sorcerer. I put my little thingy down. I am a sorcerer. I'm a wizard. Right?
Yeah, no.
You're not gonna put a finger down?
No.
All right, that's fine.
I don't like wizards.
Damn. All right.
I hate Harry Potter personally, specifically.
You know,
is he a wizard?
Yeah, he's a wizard.
Oh, okay, yeah, I hate him. Anyways, next.
Your cousins, my sisters and cousins on our mom's side, you know they love Harry Potter, right?
Yeah, I do know that.
You don't agree with their life choices?
I don't agree with their life choices. I don't support. I watch the movies. I'm like, no.
You love the sin or hate the sin on this one?
Yes, exactly. Right. You know, I still love them, but.
All right, put a finger down if you are an idolater, which you have to define for me.
So an idolater is anyone that puts an idol before God. So anything that puts their emphasis on that thing as opposed to worshiping God. Because you can't really, in the Bible, you can't really choose one or the other. It's you always choose God. So if you choose anything above God, like I think typically like the real life examples that were given was like your boyfriend, or like in like Sunday schools, like the TV. If you're watching the TV but not reading your Bible, you're putting the TV before God, like that kind of stuff.
So I'm gonna definitely put fingers down for that one.
I'm gonna have to put a finger down only because I feel like a pastor would definitely probably say that about me. So fingers.
All right. Last one. It's all caps. It's very aggressive. All liars. I'm putting another finger down.
I'm gonna put a finger down, not because I regularly lie, but I have lied.
I think everyone has lied.
I think so too.
Even the streetwalkers.
Yeah, well, they repented. But yeah, I mean,
they repent every time they cheat on their wife. Okay.
I lie to spare people's feelings sometimes. So there's that.
That's true. You do that. Well, okay. How many fingers do you have down?
5.
Okay, I have 6. I feel like you had more this time.
Evil. Yeah, well, last time I like lost count, so.
Oh, well, I'm glad you kept count this time. Thanks for playing the game
I
properly.
think I kept count this time. Yes, I think it was 5.
Okay. Well, either way, I'm more of a sinner and more likely to burn in hellfire than you are.
Oh, well.
According to streetwalkers.
I might see you there. We're not sure.
Ooh, besties. Twinning.
Besties for the resty.
We can take selfies on there, it's fine. Post them on
Yeah,
Instagram.
I just like also don't give much merit to street preachers, so there's that. I mean,
that's true.
They could be wrong.
Go away. There's something happening. Oh, I broke my laptop. Someone help. Oh god. Okay, we're good. Anyways, that was my game. I had fun because I made it and I got to say the word whore. So
Ooh.
it's one of my favorite words.
Yeah,
I say it.
me,
I say it all the time.
You call me a hoe.
I called you a hoe earlier, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
I called you lots of
I
things.
don't appreciate that.
You don't appreciate it?
It hurts my feelings.
It hurts your feelings? Well, I'm sorry, but I don't care that much. Out of love. I call my sisters worse things.
Oh, that's good to know. I guess I feel better now.
My sisters deal with so much verbal hate from me. But it's all out of love.
Yeah.
Overcompensation from my childhood.
Well, there you go.
When I learned how to swear, it was like game over. It was.
Well, it's very freeing to learn that you can express your emotions however you feel.
That's true. And I choose to express them through words. I choose to express a lot of things through words, though. I'm a very
powerful
word person.
Yes, I like to do the same. I like to write them and speak them and read them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I like
Words
to
are
hear
good.
them too. Someone tell me, speak to me, love me.
Yep.
Yeah. Ugh, words are great.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, on to the topic we are going to talk about today. So Emily and I have a lot of commonalities where we also have a lot of differences. But one of those commonalities is we have a autoimmune disease called Hashimoto's, and we're gonna talk about that, just like basics and a little bit of advice for people who may find themselves diagnosed or a loved one diagnosed with this beautiful disease.
Yes. Or just all chronic diseases.
Or just all any autoimmune chronic disease.
Yeah. I think it applies to a broad spectrum of chronic diseases.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, Emily, you know more about the technicalities of like the definition of what Hashimoto's is. So why don't you go ahead and explain it?
Okay. So with autoimmune disease, it is a chronic disease. So it means your immune system's kind of always on. And so it can kind of break down different parts of your body. So what your immune system does, which we know about the immune system as far as like fighting a cold, it'll boost up its certain cells and it's going to target and kill. So if it's cold, it's going to target and kill that virus. So anything that it sees as an invader, it's going to annihilate. essentially. And so with autoimmune disease, typically it's going to target different organs. So that's how we kind of come up with the different categories of autoimmune disease. So, arthritis is autoimmune disease that affects your joints. And then there's diabetes, which affects your pancreas. And I am not 100% sure both types, but I do know type 1, I want to say, is autoimmune disease. And then there's different ones. So different organs, skin, joints, the muscle, all of that stuff. So they can all be attacked individually. So usually like one thing is targeted. With Hashimoto's, which the name Hashimoto's comes from the doctor. That was the last name of the doctor that came up with the disease and kind of categorized it for us. And where is he from, Ryan?
Japan.
Oh, he's from Japan. So that's why we get such a fun name when people ask what we have to say Hashimoto's. So with Hashimoto's, it targets our thyroid. So your thyroid is a little butterfly shaped gland in the in your neck, like in your throat. So like basically kind of under your jaw, like in between your clavicle bone and your jawbone. And every cell in your body does need thyroid to function. So that's why it kind of has a broad effect. Your thyroid you need for a lot of things. Typically, we see weight gain, hair loss, weight loss. Like anything with weight can definitely, anything with thyroid definitely is going to affect your weight one way or another.
Your metabolism, yeah.
Your metabolism, it's going to typically affect your hair. Like that's how they see it. It's kind of one of the first signs.
Your hair and your fingernails, anything with like keratin generally.
Yeah, and you usually get diagnosed in your 30s, like in your late 30s, maybe after you've had your first child, that sort of thing. And then you'll see the last 30 your eyebrow will bald. Like that's typically another sign. But for us, we had the distinct pleasure of getting diagnosed very young. So I was 17. Well, no, sorry. I was 20 when I got diagnosed. I was 17 when I started seeing symptoms.
Yeah.
And then Ryan.
I was diagnosed officially when I was 13, and I started seeing symptoms when I was 11, 12, about.
Yeah. And typically you're not going to, it's going to be a long time in between feeling your symptoms and the diagnosis, because your numbers are not immediately going to take a nosedive or go up high. So there's a measuring that they use. So they say like if it's within range or out of range, but you could still be experiencing symptoms when your numbers are within range. So with thyroid specifically, they're going to test for your TPO, which is thyroid. Oh my gosh, I get perioxid, something like that. But it basically is your number of cells in your body that is attacking like actively. So your antibodies. So your antibodies, you with Hashimoto specifically. So there is other thyroid diseases, but with autoimmune thyroid, you produce those antibodies and they attack your thyroid. So they're trying to kill your thyroid. So they're seeing that as a threat as opposed to it's own body attacking itself, which is essentially what they tell you when you get diagnosed, is your body's attacking itself.
Yeah, and not to mention it's hard to get a diagnosis, especially when you're younger, because like you said, a lot of people don't develop it until they're in their mid 30s.
Mm-hmm.
So you come in, you're a kid, and they're like, you're fine. It's this or this and this, and they don't even do blood work, and you could have your symptoms for a lot longer than either of us have had them. Because they just are like, nah, kids don't get this.
Yes. And that I'm a huge advocate for advocating.
Yeah.
Advocating for yourself, because you know how you feel, you know what's right. Your body will tell you. You'll just have that feeling of like something's not okay. And the second you feel that, I like chase after that. And I was just talking to my sister of all the things that they told me that was like just ridiculous when I went to the doctor. Like they basically looked at me, said, "You look fine." And I'm like, "Okay, well, I'm not." And they're like, "Well, you look healthy." Like,
Yeah.
okay, cool. And then I always have skin issues, so that tends to be how mine manifests, is just with my skin issues. So I've had folliculitis, which is infection of the hair follicles. I have acne. Pretty much, I get staph infections of the skin. I get not that it is the skin, but I used to get eye infections, and then my eyelashes get infected.
Yeah.
So with that, they were literally there. What they told me to do was wash with soap. I was like, fools, do you not think I wash with soap? Like, but that was kind of their like, let me shut you up and leave because we don't have answers. So they're going to do that to you. And I will say I've been to 8, 9, 10 doctors. I lost track at this point, but it's at least 8 from what I could remember. And the medical system is not really created to give us answers for some reason. I mean, I don't know exactly. There are great doctors. I've had a few that did their job amazingly, and really the resources they had they used, but other ones were very much ready to just move on to the next patient. So
Yeah.
I'm big on just making sure. And then Ryan took the next step basically, as opposed to just doing the Western medicine doctors.
Yeah. The typical go to a clinic and yeah, typical doctors, I guess. Western medicine. Yeah. I went and luckily, well, my mom really was that person who didn't accept no for an answer. Or
Yeah.
I don't know for an answer. So she looked for her own answers and we found what are they called? I don't even,
Functional doctor.
a functional doctor. And he, yep, took me in. I was his youngest patient he's ever had. And we worked together for a long time to help me get better. And as soon as we like started seeing him, it was like results in days. Yeah. So luckily, like you said, you're a big advocate for advocating. Luckily I had a mom who would advocate for me since I was so young. I couldn't advocate for myself, and I was so far deep into symptoms that I didn't want to advocate for myself. So luckily she did her work and I got better. And then we were able to say, "Hey, Emily, come try this out. You've tried a lot of things. Let's try this."
Yes. And he was actually the one that first diagnosed me.
Mhm.
I had been again to just the typical MDs, and I just literally had no answers. The only answer I ever had was they took a culture of my skin and said it was staph. Like that was the only answer I ever really had. And then I had high liver enzymes, and they were like, "We're not sure. You may have taken a Tylenol before you took the test." And I was like, "No, I didn't." And they're like, "Well, you probably did. Bye." I'm like, "Okay." Like,
Well, maybe you did.
yeah.
Just let me gaslight you real fast.
Exactly. And that you will have a ton of gaslighting in medical work. Like you're going to have to expect that. And you're also going to have to be pretty firm. But it's hard as a younger person, especially, I do believe. I think that probably across the board, they do say like women tend to experience it more than men, because they think women are just coming in and having a moody day and being like, "I need this checked." Like, but so women get listened to
Their
less.
period cramps are a little too hard today.
Yeah, exactly. So women get listened to less, and then younger people get listened to less. So it is going to be hard. And I have had attitude from doctors that when I come in and I say, "Hey, can you check this?" they're automatically defensive because they feel like I'm stepping into their job. But it's like, "Hey, this is my body, and I know what I feel, and I'm pretty confident in it. And I actually have been right on a lot of things just listening to my body." So
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's just gonna have to be expected, unfortunately, at this point in time, that you're gonna get pushed back. And
Yeah. And there's a
um
lot of discrimination. I shouldn't say discrimination, but it is discrimination
yeah.
against women, people who are overweight, which is a symptom
Hmm.
of a lot of autoimmune disorders, people,
Yes.
um, younger people, like, there's a lot of things stacking up against you, especially in the autoimmune world.
Yes.
So you just have to like yeah, I hate to be like, you just have to like find a doctor that'll actually listen to you, which is easier said than done.
Yes, it is easier said than done. And then even then, I mean, I'm a big advocate for functional doctors,
Mhm.
just because that's where I have found my answers. Because, like I said, I mean, I do think that there are other doctors in the world, but that will actually know their stuff. But I do believe like our education system is limited only because there are biases. So that's obviously a hot topic. I feel that way just from experience. And then my doctors I went to just not really having a knowledge around some things. Um, so yeah, there's a lot of stuff that within that, just even getting the diagnosis, which is the very bare minimum of starting the journey
Yeah,
of
getting the
autoimmune disease.
yeah.
Like that should be almost a given. And the rest should be, where the hard stuff comes in. But it, it's it is challenging.
Yeah, and that's I've been pretty lucky with doctors. Like my old doctor that initially diagnosed with Hashimoto's, he was very pro listening, I guess. And once I started seeing the functional doctor, he wasn't like, ugh, why would you do that? He was like, please, like, if what I'm doing for you isn't working, go see someone who's going to work for you. And once I like was like, oh yeah, I stopped doing this and this, and he was like, that's wonderful. You, as long as you feel good and you are feeling better and your test results are good, like, you need to do that. So I was very, he switched practices and I haven't seen him in like 7 years, just because I'm like, I can't go see anyone else because this man was like a diamond in the rough, pure
No,
joy.
that's huge. And that's honestly exactly the attitude that a doctor should have. And that should
Mm-hmm.
be the attitude that you're looking for in your doctor.
Yeah, it was great.
I have had one male doctor who was really great like that. He just, again, like for whatever reason, he really did run all the tests, which a lot of times that was my fight was, can you run this test? I had insurance, I had everything, and they
Uh-huh.
were so resistant to listening to my request for whatever reason. I have my thoughts on why, but I don't know 100%. And then he ran a whole lot of tests and he was able to diagnose me like a little bit further, which I mean, the general diagnosis is Hashimoto's, but just seeing how it's affecting the different parts of my body, my organs. So um, it was, he was very helpful and I was very grateful for him. But other than that, I can't say, um, but yeah, that should be the attitude that we're looking for. And don't be afraid of switching doctors. Like, don't be
Oh yeah,
afraid of switching nothing for yourself.
break
If
up
it's
with your
not working,
doctor.
what was that?
I said break up with your doctor.
Yeah, exactly. Break up. If it's not working, break it up. Like that's what should be the case with everything. Your therapist, your doctor, your boyfriend, like just if it doesn't work, it's not working for you.
If
Yeah,
it's
no.
not serving you. And
Exactly. If it's not serving you, that's exactly what should be the question. Is it serving me? And serving me at a core level, if your doctor diagnosed you with something and you're like, this is not serving me, bye. That's probably not going to serve you at the
yeah,
core
you know
level.
what?
But
I got diagnosed with Hashimoto's. I said, this isn't serving me. And I just left.
exactly. Yeah. It's
I
like,
did not to.
I understand it's valid. However, it's probably not going to work for you. Um, but yes. So now that we have that kind of covered, and obviously like different autoimmune diseases, different chronic diseases, because not all chronic diseases, I don't think fall in the autoimmune category necessarily.
Mhm.
But the other thing with autoimmune and chronic is like they tend to be degenerative, which means
Yeah.
that they're going to go downhill. So we're not really given a lot of answers with chronic diseases. It's typically like an I don't know thing from the doctors. And it's more about just stopping the progression as much as possible. So that's kind of the goal in treatment. And so that's the other component of autoimmune is that it is degenerative, meaning if, once your cells or your body starts producing antibodies towards your cells, it's going to be a little bit of like a downhill battle, and then just
Mhm.
seeing how much we can build up the other side to where it's a more
Yeah.
maybe even battle that we can fight it a little bit more. But with that, how do you think someone can best support someone that has autoimmune disease or chronic disease?
Oh God. Um, the way you can best support someone is genuinely just kind of sorry, there's people talking in the background. I don't know if you can hear them. They're throwing off my train of thought. But if you have a partner or a loved one who has an autoimmune disorder, just a general understanding of like things are going to be different from the diagnosis till forever.
Yes.
There's going to be a new normal, and you got to catch up or get left behind. Which, I mean, it sucks, but that's how it is.
And what I say and what I have felt in my life is people's sympathy runs out. Like, you break your leg, you get flowers, everyone's expecting your leg to heal. It does, you go back to normal life. Chronic disease, the diagnosis, people might be there for you, or the first, kind of time they learn about it, they're going to be supportive, all that. People's sympathy will run out. Like, and then your autoimmune disease never does. And the goal is that your sympathy and support does not run out, because I don't have a choice. And so that should be like
most people's
process.
Or
yes,
some
most people. I mean, in my experience, I would say most, unless except with the exception of people that understand it. And it is very hard to understand it fully if you haven't experienced it. But that's where empathy comes in, to just let me paint you a picture here, and you need to believe me. And that's the other thing I would say, is that believe the person or don't. Like, you may not, but don't stand in the middle and be like, I don't believe you, but I'm still going to be a part of your life. Like, that's not going to work. So if you don't believe that person, you genuinely think that they're trying to get attention or whatever, that like maybe some people do that. But I would say most people don't want to fake like being sick for the most part. Like, they want to actually live their life. So if it's something inside you that's blocking you from accepting the fact that someone else might have an illness that you don't 100% understand the effects of, then probably step out of that person's life, because that's going to be harmful for them.
Yeah, and that's another point, is like, you as a partner or a loved one of someone who has autoimmune, doesn't matter what, it's okay to not understand, but it's not okay to like discredit them.
Yes.
Like, we don't want you to understand necessarily, because understanding would mean you have to like have it to have a full understanding. So having it, you don't have to understand, you just have to support and be there. And even if you don't not sure what to do, you can always just asking and being like, hey, what do you need, or is there anything I can do? If not, like, what do you want me to do? Like, do you want me to leave? Do you want me to give you a minute? Like, communication.
Yes. And can I just say that what do you need is probably the best question any person can hear, first of all, in general, just any person. And then when you're struggling, like, that is probably the best question anyone could ever ask, is what do you need right now?
Yeah.
Like, that is my love language, I think. But it's huge. It shows I don't know, but I'm listening. Like, that's what it shows.
I'm willing to learn, or
yes. I'm willing to be what you need. And not that, I mean, literally, I mean, just thinking about different points in my life, that could have helped me so much if someone genuinely said that to me. Like that would have been a game changer. Like life's hard enough. Then let's add an autoimmune disease at a young age. And then like just being asked that would have been huge for me to be able to take a little relief. Like let's not make it harder on people that are suffering with this. And it's not always, and also too, like it's not your job to fix it either. Like it's not your responsibility as someone that's supporting someone with chronic disease. It's not. It's you can help them carry that burden, but it's not your responsibility at the end of the day. So remembering that, because that can, I think one big thing that we tend towards as having people with chronic disease is feeling like we're a burden. So we don't want to feel that anymore. So most, there are going to be times where it's going to be a little bit heavier for maybe the support person to carry, and it might feel a little bit heavy as far as just like it just gets messy at times. But
it's messy for both parties too.
It is. I mean, everything about life can be very messy, and then love's messy when you love someone and you have to go through those types of things for that person out of love. It's going to be messy, but also having awareness around that we already feel like a burden.
Oh yeah, 100%. It's you definitely are like, okay, I can't do this now, or this has to be done, or I need to do this at this certain time of day, blah, 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 blah. So many different things. I need to wear, like for arthritis, I need to wear this brace and I can't grab things as well. Like, can you grab this? Like, it can make you feel like, okay, what can I do for myself sometimes?
Yes.
And like for what we have a lot of food restrictions. So it's like, okay, I like literally tell people, like I got a job and they're like, oh, my boss was like, come have dinner with me and like my family. And I was like, no.
Yep.
No, because you don't need to do that. Like, I don't want to put you out. I have a lot of problems. And they're like, okay, so what? We can work around those. And I was like, okay. And then if they serve me something I can't eat, I'm just going to not say anything and just eat it and just deal with it.
No, don't do that.
Nope, too late. It's already gonna happen. Like
that is huge though. I mean, that is a big part of it, is that we miss out on things, and we also sometimes people see us as rude because literally I've had people that I just didn't want to explain to them, but it was like I had to say no. And then they kept trying to, well, what about this? What about this? And I'm just like, like, it's not you, I promise. Like, it's not. But it just like puts you in some positions at times that you're just like really don't want to deal with or really feel uncomfortable by, and like things like that, to just try to decide, do I explain like this whole stuff to them? Do I not? Like, all of that.
Yeah. And that's, so I was supposed to drive down to see my aunt this weekend. She also has a lot of autoimmune, and I got sick. I don't know what happened. I got sick, and so I called her and I was like, hey girl. And she's like, girl, you know how many times I have to like call out of things because I just can't do them anymore. Like, I understand. I'll catch you next time. It's fine. And I was like, okay, thank God. Like, you're not mad at me. You're not like, our plans are ruined. You're like, you know how many things I have to call out of because I just can't physically do them, or I'm too tired or whatever. Like, it sucks.
Yes. And I think that we are moving to a place just in general, because we have more awareness around just health in general, self-care, mental health, physical health, all of that no is a complete sentence. Like, you don't need to explain yourself. If you're coming from a place of, you're not being rude, where you're saying, sorry, like I can't make it today. It's not like, I'd rather sit on my couch and eat Fritos for fun. Like, it's like you genuinely have a good reason, and it's not out of a selfish, like that, a self, like egotistical selfish. It's out of a self-care selfish, and you can say no. like that should be okay. And I think we are moving to that place now. But I mean, that's huge just for people to like society to move in that direction where there may be things you just don't understand what's going on, you know, you don't need to know also. Like I'm not accountable to you to explain that. But just, you know, if you trust me as a human being, you trust that I have good intentions.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's huge. And
Yeah,
then
another piece of advice to partners or loved ones, don't it generally speaking, the people who have the disease are the ones that can explain it best. So
mhm,
you don't need to go telling people your partner's medical information.
yep.
You can be like, oh, Ryan can't do that. She has Hashimoto's. I'll be like, oh, please never speak ever again to me.
Exactly.
So
There's
it's your
yes.
diagnosis as a individual, and if I want to disclose that information to a person, I will. And if I don't want to, then I'm not going to. It's not your place to spread my business around.
Yes. Like
So,
self agency needs to be
mm-hmm.
understood and respected, and it is big. I mean, I think that that's part of it. I've had people personally say insensitive comments or share my information or things like that because they didn't understand like the depth that it affects a human being, like in every which way. And so to them it's just like whatever, you know, and it should never be that way. Like just that sensitivity around it of, you know, not even disclosing symptoms, like not like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, she can't eat that, or you know, like I've had someone say that, like, oh, she will die if she'll eat that, and it's like, okay, well that's not really exactly what would happen if I eat the cookie. But it's like, um, I didn't get that chance to explain it. Or I didn't get the chance to have the choice if I wanted to explain it to that group of people or not.
Mm-hmm.
And that is big. I mean, we need that self agency for, I mean, medical information should never be thought of as something that is public information
Yeah,
anyways,
free
but
to anyone who passes. And like if you have permission to like tell someone, like if you're a boyfriend or something and your girlfriend's like, you can tell your mom that if I'm coming over to dinner, she can't cook this because of this reason. Like, then obviously that's fine. But
yes,
in other situations, it's like, okay, don't tell anyone.
yes.
Uh,
And, or go ahead.
oh, I was gonna move on to the next point.
Oh, I was just gonna go back to burden really quick and then we'll go to the next point. But another aspect of a lot of chronic diseases is mental,
Mm-hmm.
and how it affects our brain, how it affects our dopamine responses and our serotonin. So we tend to have heightened depression, heightened anxiety, ADHD, ADD, bipolar disorder, things like that. So it tends to pair with autoimmune, besides the fact that like it physically affects us, it also does externally affect the mental, as far as having that weight of a disease that we really don't know much about, that we're having to deal with every day, and we really don't have answers,
Yeah.
yada yada yada. So like for me, that's when I felt like a burden more so than having people have to like cook certain meals for me. Like that
Mm-hmm.
definitely is a big thing, but I tend to just do it myself, so I don't have to feel that. um and then but the mental, like I remember when I was getting into my first relationship crying, like bawling, just because I thought, well, I was so scared that I was going to have another depressive episode, to where I was like, how is that person ever going to understand what's going on for me?
Mm-hmm.
What if I get to like, you know, the deepest, darkest place and I have a responsibility to this person and all this stuff? Of course, part of that is, I didn't understand healthy relationships. So I felt like my whole, you know, that person's whole life was dependent on my, who I was, and yada, yada, yada. And I had to earn that love. But that's huge. I mean, that's big to think in that way, that you're going to be a burden, that you can't take care of yourself when you're depressed, and all the stuff that goes along with that usually doesn't fit into a new relationship. But like, it just kind of is a hard, you know, bridge to um, build. And so that's when I had felt the most burden. And even to my family, So just again, like knowing that that's real and that happens, and some people aren't going to tell you, even your closest people. That is like a very shameful thing in the Christian community. It's shameful. It's not even hardly recognized in the Christian community that you can have depression.
Yeah.
So religion,
Harder.
yes.
It's someone, I saw someone today say, had someone say to them, they weren't saying it to us, but had someone say to them in a psych ward, a nurse in a psych ward told them that depression was God's way of telling them they didn't pray hard enough.
Yes.
A medical
I've been told that.
in a psych ward.
Yes. I mean, that's insane that someone had to, someone working in a psych world believed that. But yes, no, I've heard that, and it's from Christian people. I mean, Christian leaders in my church. And it's, well, have you prayed about it? Yes, I have prayed every day of my freaking life that I could be relieved of this. Like, and then it's like, well, have you been reading your Bible?
I've sobbed at the feet of God, like begging.
No, like quite literally, I have cried in church. I've gone to like prayer nights. I've got prayed over. I just cry every time because it was such a huge thing for me that it affected every part of my life, and I was scared of my future. I was scared of pretty much everything, just because it's like, gosh, I don't want to live like this. And yeah, I went to healing nights they had where you just have certain people that with the gift of that had identified themselves as a gift of healing. So there's also a lot of gaslighting. Yes, there's a lot of gaslighting in church. So you get it from the medical world, you get it in church, like you get it everywhere. So it's a lot. But let's go to our next point that you have apparently.
Yes.
Okay.
I forgot what it was.
Brain fog.
Well, this is more ADHD. Fuck. Okay, partners. Jesus fuck. God, I had a good one. It was good. I guess we'll go to okay, so you were talking about how someone be like, Emily can't eat that, and it's like, I just want this cookie, you know?
Yes.
Majority of the time, please don't, here's the general, don't police us.
Yes.
We won't police you in what you eat. Don't police us in what we eat. Even if like you see me, I'm eating a piece of bread and it's gluten and it's got cheese on it, whatever. Don't say anything, please. Just because I know what I'm doing. I know the risk that I'm taking by eating that. But right now, I'm mentally am prepared to take that risk. And I know what it's going to happen. I know the procedure. I know everything. You just gotta bite your tongue on this one because, God damn it, sometimes I just want a piece of bread or a bite of ice cream or a bite of cake. I usually don't eat the full thing. I just want like a bite.
Yes.
You understand the risk that we are taking.
Yes.
And are prepared to deal with the consequences.
And again, along the lines of, it's not responsibility. Like, our disease is not your responsibility. So that helps you. Like, you can relieve yourself of that responsibility. And you can also relieve yourself of the responsibility of telling me what I can eat and not eat. And yes, that is huge. I mean, that's my hugest.
Puts less pressure on you as a person. Like, you just, like, hey, not my deal.
Exactly.
I don't care. I'll eat a piece of bread with you.
Yes. And it's like, for the most part, like, we're eating clean 99% of the time, and we just want that one thing. Like, and so it's like defeating to feel like
with people on like a diet to like lose weight or just like, oh, I want to be a little more healthy. You know, I have a cheat day on the weekend. We don't get cheat days.
No, we pay for our cheat days.
Yeah, our cheat days are like 2 days out of 365 when we feel physically ready to deal with the pain
Yeah, for like a good 3 days after.
Yeah, the week-long brain fog that comes from eating that bread and the stomach cramping from having that bite of ice cream. Like, we're prepared.
Mhm.
We don't get cheat days, so let us have this.
Yes. And I find it interesting because I have seen this with friends and family, but that you trigger people. Like there's a whole lot of food emotions around food. I mean, there's emotional triggers with food. So people around me have been triggered by me eating healthy for my body. Like I think the most comments that I've had that have been a little bit like disheartening or like kind of hurtful towards me have been about food. Like I've had people that maybe struggled with their relationship with food, and because they saw me able to make good choices, I've had like someone kind of police me. Like that was like kind of, I could tell they were kind of triggered and they're like, don't eat that, don't eat that. It was like this control thing because they almost couldn't control themselves around food, and they projected that on me to where like, oh, I can't control myself, but I can control her with food.
Yeah.
So I've had friends like that. I've had someone make the comment that, oh, I wish I had an autoimmune disease so then I could eat healthy and be forced to eat healthy. Like, girl,
Yeah.
let me tell you, like, you have the choice and make it now because I don't have that choice. So
yeah, you want the choice because
you want the choice.
With the choice, you can choose that cheat day, and that cheat day has no consequences other than like, oh, you ate a few more calories.
Yes.
Or you didn't eat a vegetable today. That's your consequence.
Yes.
With this, your consequences are should I go to the hospital today? Or should I spend the next week in my bed? Or should I have to run home and be doubled over in pain because my intestines are trying to rip themselves apart? Literally trying to rip themselves apart because of whatever I ate. It's, you don't want that. Just make the choice.
Yes.
Or like, also like, people, if you know someone has like an autoimmune, don't be like, or when you hear it, don't be all like dramatic, like, what? You can't have chocolate? I could never live without chocolate. Like,
yeah.
All right, you could though. I do it every day. I personally don't like chocolate, but that's a big example because majority of people don't, or majority of people love chocolate, and so when they hear I don't eat chocolate, they're like, oh, how do you even exist? What do you even eat? Do you just eat air? And like,
yeah,
I just don't eat chocolate.
I know, that's my favorite. I'm like, yeah, I don't eat, grains, dairy, sugar. Like, what do you eat? Like vegetables? Like,
These two food groups
fruit,
are very
meat.
not
Yeah, like
majority of food.
there's like other food groups that exist besides like your candy and your breads.
Bread, yeah.
Yeah, no, it is funny people's reaction. And yeah, I love that one. I could never. Like, well, if you're faced with dying or changing your diet, I hope you could make that choice. But
yeah,
there are, I mean, that's what I always say to people because they're like, well, you have to eat that way. And I'm like, no, I don't actually have to. Like, there's a lot of people with autoimmune disease that haven't chosen that path. And so they eat whatever they want. Like, you don't have to, but to me, it's not worth the consequences.
yeah.
But yeah, so it's like I am making the best choice for me, and it's a hard choice. So like, also don't discredit it. Like, you have to, you're forced to. Like, no, like I'm making those choices. Like, I'm consciously having to make those choices. Like those are hard choices for us to
Let
make.
my health be shit and
Yes,
to be sick all the time. Like, I can choose that, but it's not the best idea in the world. Yes. I'm much more enjoyable personally when I'm not sick.
Yes. Same.
Yeah.
Okay, I have one.
Okay, go for it.
So how do you feel when someone that doesn't have autoimmune disease is worried about eating a normal meal of their choice around you that you can't have?
I'm just like, what is wrong with you? Why? Just eat it. I don't like, I'm not, I mean, I'm sure there's like 1 out of 1,000 people who would be like, how how dare you eat that in front of me? You know, but that's a majority of us understand. And so just live your life as you would, and it just makes it awkward. It,
Yes.
it genuinely just makes it an awkward situation for both of us.
Yes. It like it is always funny because then they're like, oh, should I be eating this right now in front of you? Like I feel bad. But like to me, it almost makes me feel bad that they have to feel bad. It's like just eat your food. Like I honestly am at the point in my life like I can go in a grocery store, pick out what I want, not be tempted by the donuts on the shelf.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. We like
so.
we walk sorry, I can't speak. We walk by so many foods and restaurants that
Yeah.
have delicious foods, candy stores, like we see everything every single day. You eating it is fine. Plus, I know both of us have the same rule. It's like sometimes I want you to eat it. Just go like let me oh, audio is glitching. Um, but yeah, I like want you to eat it. Like just go ahead and eat it. I want to watch you. Is it good? That's nice. Can I smell it maybe? Like
Can I look inside it when you take a bite?
yeah. Take a bite and show me what's inside of it.
Yes. No, I literally will be like, can you please order this so I can just see it? Like, I like to live a little bit vicariously through other people. Usually when it comes to cheesecake, but a lot of other things also. Just, I'm like always curious. Pastries, what's in it?
Yeah. So like, and that's the thing. Like, I've kind of always like I don't like chocolate. It's not a choice that I like. Oh, I can't eat chocolate, but I like it. I don't like it. Genuinely, it's just not my food. But I'll be like, can you like eat this piece of chocolate, bite it in half, show me what's inside? Because I want to know. Is there mint in there? Is there caramel? What's going on? Is it good? Do you like it? Okay, that's weird. Like if I ate it, I would gag. But I want to know. I want to know what's going on here.
Yes.
But
We don't want you to change your life because of
again, yeah, and it all goes back to like our disease is not your responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not your responsibility. If you want to like make that choice of like, oh, I'm going to stop eating candy with you just because I want to be healthier, like go for it. We can not eat candy together. But also, if you eat candy, that's fine too. I don't care.
Yep. So that's all the points I have, I believe, unless something comes to mind. But
no, yeah, that's pretty good, and we're within time too. So
good.
Last time I recorded this, it was like 2 hours. So
yeah. We got issues. But yeah, I think just like the idea and the intention behind this is just that it's not as simple as it seems, especially when you don't have it. And for people that do have it, really advocating. I mean, again, I'm a big advocate for advocating. So advocating to your doctor, to your loved ones, to the people around you of like, hey, this, when you say this, it makes me feel a certain way. Or like, I don't want you sharing my information. This is how I feel about it. Here's my boundaries. Like really speaking up for yourself and really helping people around you understand what you need to relieve any other added layers to the challenges that we already have. And so all of that, and then just being able to also leave room for the fact that people won't understand, like people don't, like they can't fully understand it. And then the people that are supporting you, like supporting someone with an autoimmune disease, understanding that you won't know like what they're going through. And then, like I said, trusting them, believing them, and just asking them what they need. I think that's going to be the biggest thing. Like all the points that we made are things that were specific to us and how we both feel. And we both agree pretty much on everything with that.
In this regard, yeah.
And so, but maybe someone might feel differently. I mean, we obviously have the same disease, so we have some similarities around it. but other people may have different experiences with it. There's a lot of shame in autoimmune disease, like I said, especially I think maybe more heavily when there is mental illness involved. However, I mean, there are different autoimmune diseases that have a little bit more physical things that are different, like ostomy bags and things like that. And we feel that enough, like we feel enough shame around it. So just like being extremely sensitive and empathetic to the fact that that is stuff that we carry with us every single day, and we don't really have an end date for that one.
Yeah. And when you, as with, I feel like any sickness or disease or anything, I guess, I'll say medical, you see the people who really care about you.
Yep.
It, you can't hide from it. So if you genuinely care about that person who has a diagnosis or had that accident, then you're going to be there and you're going to support them. And it becomes pretty obvious to us of the people who have the disease or the accident or anything about who actually cares and who doesn't. And I mean, that's fine. Just weeds out the fake ones, and you're left with the most supportive and loving, at least in my experience. The people who I have in my life now care about me and my health and are there for me, which is good.
Yeah. Which means you have good boundaries.
Yeah, that too.
Yes, but I mean, that's big. And I have said it before, and it's extremely valid that you may not feel grateful for your autoimmune disease, but there is obviously things I wish I don't have that I'm not grateful for, but that the things that come when there are extremes in life, like you get to weed out some stuff besides fake friends or friends that don't have the capacity to really care for you in a genuine, deep way. It also weeds out like a lot of just surface level stuff in your life. Like when you're faced with dying, like, and I think that at least for me, I mean, that's where my autoimmune got to before I got diagnosed and started treatment. Um, there was definitely something in my body that was like, you're gonna die. Like I kind of just felt that inside me. And you're faced with that stuff, or you're faced with not knowing the future, you're faced with not knowing, you know, if you can have kids one day or not, like all that stuff. You kind of get to a place of like really seeing the important things in life and like the depths and appreciating the deep things and the depths of things. And I think we both have been impacted by autoimmune disease and has strengthened our character in that way. They say trauma does it. um, which again, it's not like we're grateful for it. We're not grateful for the trauma. We're grateful for the little extra pieces. Like life is very sweet in certain ways with even in the midst of trauma, you know, things that we don't.
Darkest stuff can still have lights.
Exactly. Yeah.
And those lights are pretty damn pretty. Like, you know, it's like the night sky, you know, it's just a black screen. But then you have the stars, and those are just teeny tiny little lights, and they're the most beautiful things, in my opinion, in the world.
Yep. So that's big. I mean, that's been my journey with autoimmune and just processing it all and all of that stuff. And last thing I'll just say real quick is like
before we run over time.
Yeah, well, people might be in like different stages of where they are with processing the information that they've been given. So there's that too.
Yeah, like, and even between Emily and I, we're in very different stages of acceptance.
Yes.
Like I do not like talking about it with people I like genuinely care about, like the people close to me, like partners. I don't talk about it because I'm like, I'll blow it off. I'll make jokes about it, like, oh yeah, like I have holes in my intestines. That's funny, huh, guys? And people don't really think about it, but it does. I don't have an acceptance level that Emily does on the wow, this is just how it is, or I guess, or an understanding of it as good. I haven't faced it, I guess is a good way to put it.
Yeah, and I would say, I mean, I'm still in the process. I think it's always going to be somewhat of a process, a little bit of different layers, but I think that part of it has been, I definitely feel like I didn't before, and I kind of feel better about it now in a certain way. But I think that would be like a whole thing too, whole podcast in of itself, is learning how to cope with diagnosis, symptoms, the whole 9 yards of it. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Good job. Look at us. As a synopsis, like, autoimmune disease sucks in many, many ways, can be different for every single person who has even the same disease. If you have a loved one who is diagnosed with it, understanding, sympathy. Also, it's not your responsibility to manage them. I'd say that's pretty two sentence synopsis of everything we said.
You got it. You did better than me.
Anyways, if you liked us, if you think we're funny, or just don't think we're annoying, you can go ahead and subscribe, drop a like, comment. You can follow me on Instagram at ryan.m.s. You can follow us on Twitter at wtfu.podcast. And of course, here on YouTube, you can hit the subscribe and the bell so you know when we upload, which our upload schedule, we're figuring it out because oftentimes we have to re-record because I like to talk.
I kind of like to talk too, but
yeah, well, that's why we're here. Emily, anything, any plugs you want to do?
I don't necessarily have any plugs.
All right.
I think you covered it.
Cool. Perfect. All right. We'll see you guys next time. Thank you.